And welcome back to our first supplemental video. Let's call it an episode 2.5. Why am I making this? Because many of you told me, and correctly so, that the tutorials where I showed how I make the 3 stitches in my previous video is a little bit difficult to follow because the camera is a little bit too far, and also the yarn is fuzzy and therefore kind of difficult to see clearly. So I made this supplemental video where I am actually going to go over all those 3 stitches again, but this time the camera will be angled closer to my hands, and also the yarn you will see is a different type of yarn. It's not fuzzy. The stitches can be seen very, very clearly. So let's get going. And here how I do my foundation half double crochet. I never begin with a slip knot. So I do it in this other way. I place my yarn under my hook, over my hook, under my hook, and over my hook again. Hold these 2 strands in place and pull the one in the middle just like that. Okay? Now I use my pinky finger here to hold everything in place. This hole is very important. We need to keep the shape because we're going to work through it twice before we can let it go. Now the next thing that I do, you probably don't need to do it, but I need to do it because my hand position when I crochet is not a standard hand position. So I find that what I'm about to do helps me a lot. So I place my index finger through those 2 strands, and now I use this index finger and this thumb to hold these 3 strands in place, and I pull through that loop. Okay, remember that hole that I told you about? It's this one here, this one here. We're gonna work through it twice, so it's very important that it stays in place. Yarn over, work through once, yarn over, pull through again, and we're done. Notice you have 3 loops on your hook, and that's good, as it should be. Use your finger to hold them in place, yarn over. Now use again your left hand to pinch the stitch and hold it in place while you work through it. Pull through only 1 loop, only 1 loop, yarn over, pinch again to hold it in place, and pull through all 3 loops. You just completed the first foundation half double crochet stitch made of 1 chain, 1 foundation chain, and a half double crochet stitch on top. Okay, so also this is our first stitch right here, and we are going to use a stitch marker to make sure that we do not lose sight of it. Okay, oops, let's do it right. Perfect, just like that. Lock it in place and cinch just a little bit. Beautiful. And we made our first one. So let's take a look at our foundation half double crochet stitch. Is made of these 3 loops, and those are part of the half double crochet stitch, and then 1 loop right here, and that is the foundation chain that we made initially. This is where we are going to work our hook through in the next stitch. So count with me. Yarn over, 1, 2, 3. Those are the half double crochet stitch. We're not going to touch those. 4, a little loop here, right there. There's also another one here right behind it. We need to catch it. There. Yarn over. Now you pull through both of them. You have 3 loops on your hook, as it should be. Yarn over. Pull through 1 loop you just made, the foundation chain, yarn over, pull through all 3 loops, you completed the foundation half double crochet. Again, yarn over, 1, 2, 3, you do not touch, 4, right there. You work your hook through that. Don't forget the tiny, tiny little one in the back. Yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through one loop, yarn over, pull through all 3 loops. And we just completed 3. One more. Yarn over, 1, 2, 3, no, 4. There it is. And don't forget the little baby in the back. Yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 1 loop, yarn over, pull through 3 loops. How many did we just made? Let's count the little hearts, the hearts at the top. 1 heart, 2 hearts, 3, 4. We just made 4 stitches. Let's take a look at the other side of our foundation half double crochet. We also have hearts here. 1, 2, 3, and 4. We have 6 more to do. Let's count first. 1, 2, 3, and 4. That's there. And let's not forget the baby here. Yarn over, pull through, and then yarn over, pull through only 1 loop, and then yarn over and pull through all 3 loops. We just made stitch number 5. So why am I going to make 10? Because in this tutorial, what I'm about to make, a small little swatch made of 3 rows. The first row will be our foundation half double crochet. I'm gonna give you basically 10 stitches to follow me along, so that should be sufficient for you to kind of get a good visual of how the stitch is made. Then the second row, the one on the other side, I'm actually gonna be making 10. I'm gonna be making a row of half double crochet stitch in the front loop, and then in my third row I will do 1 row of the extended half double crochet stitch in the front loop. This way, with this tutorial, with this video, I will have covered all 3 of those important stitches. Okay, let's make the remaining 5. Yarn over, 1, 2, 3, 4, right there, little baby, right there, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 1, yarn over, pull through all 3. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's our baby right there. Not our baby, that's our chain right there. Yarn over, chain, the baby is in the back. We're going to call the baby in the back. Yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 1, yarn over, pull through all 3. Okay, yarn over, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's the one we need to use. There, the baby. Yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 1, yarn over, pull through 3. Okay, how many did we just make? 1 heart, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 hearts, and also right there. So beautiful. I love the stitch. It's so beautiful. It's so elegant. Yarn over, 1, 2, 3, and 4. The baby. Pull through, yarn over, pull through 1, yarn over, pull through all 3. Yarn over, 1, 2, 3, and 4. The baby. Yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 1, yarn over, pull through all 3. And the final one, yarn over, 1, 2, 3, number 4, the baby, pull through 1, and pull through all 3. There should be 10 now. Let's take a look. Let's count the hearts. 1 heart, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. We made 11 hearts. Need to, there. Now it's 10, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Very good. Okay. So before I go, we're gonna start my next row. I'm gonna now talk about the loops. Okay, so when I was making my foundation half double crochet stitch, notice that every stitch at the top makes a heart, and that's how I count the stitches. The heart, notice, is made of these two loops. Okay, the standard half double crochet stitch would be worked through both loops. The variation in the front loop instead is worked through this loop. Okay, so this loop, this loop, this loop, this loop, etc., etc., etc. Okay, so something else that I need to say, when I make swatches, the first stitch and the last stitch, I don't use the half double crochet stitch in the front loop. I use the standard half double crochet stitch because by working through both loops, the stitch is a little bit more, how can I say, tough. And it's good to have a tough stitch on the edges of anything that you make, not just only a swatch, but even if you work a flat piece, say the front of a sweater, the back of a sweater. So the edges are always done using the standard stitch because it creates a nice, clean, straight edge, very nice and sturdy, and it's very good also for when you need to seam them together, sew them together. Okay, all right, I hope I was clear. I really hope I was clear. Okay, so we need to make an initial chain to add height for in preparation for the next row. Let's use our stitch marker here to make sure everything is in place. Turn our work, yarn over. Remember, my first stitch is a standard half double crochet stitch, so it goes through both loops. Yarn over, pull through, and pull through all three. The next 8 will be instead in the front loop. Yarn over. Can you all see? Let's get this out of the way. Yarn over, and this is the front loop. These are both loops. This is the front loop. Yarn over, pull through, yarn over, and pull through all three. Again, yarn over, front loop, yarn over, pull through the front loop, pull through all three. Let's do it again. Yarn over, pull through, push through the front loop, yarn over, pull through the front loop, yarn over, and pull through all three loops. Again, yarn over, push through the front loop, yarn over, pull through the front loop, yarn over, pull through all three loops. Again, yarn over, push through the front loop, yarn over, pull through the front loop, yarn over, pull through all three loops. If you already got a hang of this stitch, you can go ahead and fast forward the video until you hit the next chapter where I cover the extended half double crochet stitch. Otherwise, you can continue to stitch along with me. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 more stitches to cover, so it won't take that long. Yarn over, again, through the front loop, run over, through the front loop, yarn over, through all three loops, yarn over, push through the front loop, yarn over, pull through the front loop, yarn over, push all three loops, yarn over, push through the front loop, yarn over, pull through the front loop, yarn over, pull through all three loops. And now we have our last stitch, and that's not going to be in the front loop, as I said. So yarn over and through both loops to make it nice and sturdy, and then push all three loops. Done. Let's take a look. What a beautiful Yeah, I wish you could touch it, but I'm sure you, by touching also touch your swatch right now. Can you feel that the stitch is a little bit thinner? There's something about this stitch that just makes it a little bit lighter, a little bit thinner, stretchier. That's why I like it so much. Now let's turn our work and notice also the following. Notice how in those 8 stitches where we worked the half double crochet stitch in the front loop, each stitch created this beautiful, tiny, very delicate ridge, very beautiful decorative ridge. Notice how instead in the first and in the last stitches where we worked our standard half double crochet stitches, there is no decorative ridge at all. You actually see those legs of the stitch. So I personally find this ridge to be just beautiful. We're going to make the third and last row of this tutorial and this swatch. The next row will be made of extended half double crochet stitch in the front row. The extended half double crochet stitch is a little bit taller, and therefore we need to add a little bit more height than previously by making not 1 but 2 chains. Okay, let's use our stitch marker here. Turn your work. The first stitch will be through both loops, yarn over, push through both loops, yarn over, pull through both loops, yarn over, and now it's the little trick. Pull through only the first loop, only 1 loop, yarn over, and now pull through all 3 loops. Just made an extended version of the half double crochet stitch. And look how it looks a little bit taller, a little bit more elongated without losing the signature structure of a half double crochet stitch. Let's make a next one. This now, the following 8 ones will be made in the front loop. Yarn over. This is our front loop right there. Yarn over, pull through the front loop, yarn over and pull through 1 loop, yarn over, pull through all 3 loops. Again, yarn over, front loop, yarn over, front loop, yarn over, 1 loop, yarn over, 3 loops. Again, yarn over, front loop, yarn over, front loop, yarn over, 1 loop, yarn over, 3 loops. Again, front loop, 1 loop, 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 3 loops. And now the last stitch, which I work through both loops, as I said earlier. 1 loop to add extension, to add the height, and 3 loops. And I finished my row of extended half double crochet stitch in the front loop. And we can see again here our beautiful decorative ridge. If you find that there are some missing ones, it means that you worked the stitch through both loops and not through just 1 loop. And it would look like this. You would see the traditional stitch shows these 2 legs very clearly, whereas the one in the front loop, notice how the legs are not as defined, because the stitch is elongated. So the legs kind of like lose themselves into whatever the structure of the actual stitch. Oh, it's so beautiful. So I hope this was helpful. Also, before I go, if I am dressed like this, it's just because I just came back from the gym. I'm not trying to be naked or anything. That's gone, that's done. We're not gonna have those videos anymore, okay? So, but I don't wanna hear anything about this, okay? These are my gym clothes. They're perfectly appropriate, perfectly fine, okay? All right, are we all happy? Ciao. Oh, and like and subscribe, please.